what is the Filipinos' concept of justice. You see, when we had our experience with creating the formal legal system, ang ginamit po nating huwaran ay yung galing sa mga Kastila at galing sa mga Amerikano.
Democracy is made real every day by thousands of jurors across our country, in both civil cases and criminal cases. You may be asked to serve on a civil case to decide a dispute between two or more parties. Or it may be a criminal case to decide whether the accused is guilty or not guilty of the charges made. What does it take? Common sense, fairness, and impartiality. You don't need any prior knowledge of the law or special training to be a juror.
May mga assumptions po dun eh. In other words, before they came to that point where you had the Bill of Rights, there had first to be a 1215 Magna Carta, where King John was forced to really recognize that you had to have fairness in the form of a court that adjudges whether a person is guilty or not, and that the crown cannot just decide who will live and who will die.
On June 15th, almost 800 years ago, a band of English barons gathered on the banks of the Thames to confront King John. The same King John, by the way, who had all that trouble with Robin Hood. They were sick of being taxed for the king's military campaigns to reclaim land he lost in a family feud, which wasn't really going all that well anyway. They demanded that the king sign a document that limited royal power and set in place three cornerstones of liberty: the rule of law, representative government, and trial by jury. That document became known as Magna Carta, which is Latin for Great Charter.
No free man shall be taken, imprisoned, or in any other way destroyed, except by the lawful judgment of his peers, or by the law of the land. To no one will we sell, to none will we deny or delay right or justice.
In all its theoretical concept, it is really very laudable. But the problem is that it has evolved for more than 800 years in these countries before they could really say that they have a justice system that seems to be quite professional and independent.
All rise.
I think the most dramatic part on serving on a jury is when you have to walk back into the courtroom and you have to face the prosecution, the defense, the judge, and the defendant, and you have to say either guilty or not guilty.
But who should make these decisions? Who can decide fairly without seeking personal gain? Who can make decisions without any personal bias? Who can be impartial and weigh the evidence with an even hand?
Falsely claims occurred on January 1st of this year.
Many times, we don't trust any one official, or politician, or expert, or any other single individual to decide the case. Whether it's a civil trial or a criminal trial, there are times when no one person should have so much power. Instead, we trust in the community to make the right decision. This is our democratic ideal: to truly impart justice that is of the people, by the people, and for the people.
But ours is related to the way that our history as a nation developed. Obviously, the work of the court to promote the rule of law requires much to be done on our part.
When our Constitution was formed in the 1700s, there was no clear understanding of what the framers were going to come up with when they started writing our Constitution, with one exception. They were absolutely clear in their minds that we wanted to provide for trial by jury. That was a given.
The framers of our Constitution felt so strongly about trial by jury that they put it in the Constitution. They put it in the Bill of Rights. It applies to criminal trials, to all criminal trials. It applies to many civil trials. They regarded it as one of the most important safeguards of democracy. I think to their minds it was as important as the right to vote. Jurors really are experts, more than we judges are, on the thing that we ask juries to do, and that is to make findings of fact.
We need to impress the people that when you have an impartial judge adjudicating right or wrong, abuses that lead to unwarranted deaths, even of innocent people, will be avoided.
To decide whether the accused is guilty or not guilty of the charges made. What does it take? Common sense, fairness, and impartiality. You don't need any prior knowledge of the law or special training to be a juror.
Or at least there is a way by which people will have a way of trying to verbalize their analysis or their position on a conflict without facing the possibility of being slapped around or kicked.
I think that, we're so privileged to live in a society where we have a right to trial by jury.
We are so lucky to have this. If anything happened to me, I would want a jury of my peers.
Being a juror is about connecting to your neighbors, your community, and your country. It's a chance to participate in our democracy. Because without juries, there's no justice. And there's no justice without you.